Yo, what up, High and Wide fam? It's Delco Dave. Welcome to HW at Night. I'm joined with Jim Micavone and Hoagie from the Pod Street Bullies is our special guest tonight. Hoagie, how you doing tonight, man?
Good. How you guys doing, man?
Ah, man, we doing better after a win.
Eh,
What's that? I don't know what that
it's
is.
become the
What's a
norm
win?
now.
Few and far
What is this
between these
win you
days.
Yeah, what is this W word that you speak of?
Yeah. It's I don't know.
Hoagie, what you see tonight, man?
Listen, I actually saw some pretty good hockey from the Flyers. I mean, we're in our third losing streak of the season with tonight was 6. I mean, they're still playing some decent hockey. They're just not able to put the puck in the back of the net. I mean, Lindblom probably had 4 or 5 chances all night, and just he finally got the one, which was exciting. But still, like no one can score. No one can buy a goal on this team. It's pretty brutal to watch. But I mean, third period was promising once we got that goal, and then they came back down, potted one against us, and we were screwed from there.
And actually, despite the Blues' success this season, they've actually been a pretty poor defensive team. They're actually in the top 5 in scoring chances against and high danger chances against in the year, at least coming into tonight. I don't know where they're at. If they're getting to play the Flyers, they probably managed to, knock that number down a little bit.
Yeah, right.
But, Jim, what about you, man? What'd you see tonight?
It's a little sloppy, I thought. It looked like maybe you could tell the Flyers were coming off of a game last night or a tough game against the Hurricanes yesterday. The Blues kind of looked like they were feeling the Flyers out for a little while there. What was the score after one? It was 1-0, right? Braden Shen crashed the net. After a spectacular save by Martin Jones. And if you guys give me a second, I'll bring the clip up. Great save here by Jones. Just unfortunate, Braden Shen pops on the rebound before any Flyer can get there. And, fitting, Braden Shen's been on a tear. He's been the topic of conversation on Flyers Twitter the last couple days. Unfortunate, but Blues went up 1-0. Second period, I thought was more Blues. I think they outshot the Flyers at 11-7 or something weird like that. Overall, though, the Flyers had their chances to take 2 points, which I guess is a plus, right? Unfortunately, after Lindblom scores, Tarasenko comes right back down 42 seconds later, and that's all she wrote, really. The Flyers couldn't get another one past Bennington.
Well, you mentioned the Flyers had a chance at 2 points. I feel like that's been the story for the last 3 games or so.
Yeah.
Overtime loss to Pittsburgh, 5-3 loss to Washington, and overtime loss to Carolina. Like, this team just can't seem to finish these days.
Yep.
No, and you know what? Like,
Hard to watch.
I don't want to say that they've been playing good, and I don't want to be too positive because they're on their third 6-game losing streak of the season. They're staring at another 10-game losing streak in the face, but their play has improved. I truly, you could see it. The last 5, 6, 7 games, they're at least working harder. And people might hear that and they might laugh with the expectations that we had, but expectations, they have to change now with what's happened throughout the course of the season. You have to look for certain things, and what I'm looking for is, okay, what can this team build on for next season? Who's going to stick around? Who's going to work their ass off and attempt to make a name for themselves? What players are going to improve? Travis Sanheim and Travis Konechny are hot right now. I think Konechny has 21 points in his last 26 games, something like that. Another assist tonight, 7-game point streak. Travis Sanheim, I didn't go back and check his stats there, but I'm pretty sure it's a string of games now where he's at least got a point. And so you have to be happy with the way some of these guys are playing. I think the hope is that they can continue this to the end of the season, and maybe sneak out a couple more points, but go head into next season with the mindset where, hey, we got to work, and then you add the skill, and who knows what happens.
Yeah, you mentioned Sanheim, Jim. Yeah, he's got 3 straight games with at least a point. He's got 4 points in his last 3 games, 1 goal, 3 assists. So yeah, Sanheim's absolutely been making some noise lately.
Yeah, and that's I think what we were all hoping for from Travis Sanheim, right? We were told offensive defenseman, and his confidence seems to be growing more and more as the season goes on, and that's a good thing, you know.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
I've been pretty hard on Sanheim all season because I mean I'm tired of the experiment of him jumping into the play and stuff like that. I mean, he's finding ways to make things click with his teammates here and getting points and getting shots on net. So he has been noticeably our best defenseman over this our next losing streak here.
So I just went back and looked up how many points he's in the last month or so here, and he's got two goals, 7 assists, and I think it was like his last 12 or 13 games, which is decent for defense, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, 14 games. Yeah, even still, 2 goals, 7 assists in your last 14. That's pretty good for defense.
Oh,
If I was to go back
absolutely.
and look at JVR's numbers, they wouldn't be anywhere close to that, you know.
No, he's a $7 million anchor.
Yeah.
Dude, and it's gotten real bad. I think it was Jordan Hall who posted a stat earlier today. Flyers leading goal scorers in the last 10 games, and JVR didn't even make the list with 2 goals. It's bad.
It's brutal.
They have to find a way to move him off the roster, I think, for sure.
I mean, they can always buy him out, but I think they're still paying Brizgalov for his buyouts. Like, how much?
Yeah, we still have like 5. We have like 5 more years of Brizgalov or something like that. It's
Oh my
bad.
Like, how many people are going to pay this team? How many players are going to pay not to play for this team?
Right.
For real. JVR's got 1 goal since January 20th, which is a month now, a month span.
Yeah.
And
Perennial 30-goal scorer. Perennial 30-goal scorer. That's what we brought him in.
yeah, and he'll score all 30 goals in 10 games.
Yeah. I at least with JVR, I think that's like an off-season move. You're definitely not moving him come the trade deadline because no one's gonna want that cap going into.
No
one can take the cap. So I mean that's an off-season move if they can even make it happen. I don't even know if anybody wants them except for like in Arizona or somebody that you just toss them to the wayside.
Yeah, that's exactly it. You have to pay somebody with a draft pick or two to take that contract off. He has zero value. Nothing.
Right.
Yeah.
Except for parking his butt in front of the net on the power play to do nothing.
What do you guys think of Isaac Ratcliffe tonight?
Dude,
he was noticeable.
Yeah, once again, the guy's showing up. I mean, people have talked about that. He didn't make a lot of noise in the AHL, but since he's been up here, I like what he's done. In fact, I like the fact that they're giving him shots on the top line and the top 6. It's the exact opposite of what they've done with Morgan Frost, which frustrates me to no end what they've done with that kid. But, yeah, no, Ratcliffe's getting all the opportunities, and he's shining with them.
Yeah. I cringed when I saw that he was playing with Giroux and Atkinson. I was like, what are we doing here? But, I mean, give him a shot, see what he can do. I mean, what are they playing for? Draft picks at this point, so why not?
Yeah. So speaking of draft picks, former first-round pick Morgan Frost, the topic of conversation just before the game tonight. I don't know if you guys saw this.
Little bit of it.
Somebody put out a tweet that said something about scouts of other teams are boggled at the way the Flyers are handling Morgan Frost, and the way that they're handling him is horrible and this and that. He was playing with some talent tonight. If my eyes didn't deceive me, and he kind of looked the same as he always did. What did you guys think of Morgan Frost tonight?
Well, I don't think you can judge him just off of getting to play with some talent for one time. The guy's been shuffled back and forth. He's been thrown the 4th line, the 3rd line, then gets moved up. This guy was drafted for his offensive upside and his offensive talent, and he hasn't been playing there consistently. They should have been playing him, putting him in position to succeed, letting him play to his strengths from the get-go. Instead, they're trying to turn him into what they try to turn every player into, this middle 6, 200-foot grinder. Which some guys are drafted for offensively good. They're supposed to be offensive talent. And if you're not going to let them be this offensive talent, why even take them then? just trade the pick, back up, and draft yourself. Your two-way, 200-foot, 15-goal-a-year guy.
Right. Yeah, I mean, the Morgan Frost topic, we've all talked about it, right? It's the horse is pretty much dead at this point, if not dead twice. But I mean, tonight at least, he had some pep in his step. But in the third period alone, there was one play that comes to mind where he fed the puck to Braun, took up the ice, streaking up center ice, and Braun hit him with a beautiful pass. What he did with that pass was absolutely nothing. I mean, he threw a shot on net, but it went wide. But, I mean, still, it's there. And I think he's afraid to try to put his game to that next level because of reprimanding or whatever. I don't know what the Flyers are doing. I don't know what the coaches are telling him. I don't know what management's telling him. So I feel like he's a little hesitant to take that step to try to bring that offensive talent that he has instead he's trying to peel back and play that defensive game that they're trying to develop into his game, which I think they should focus on what he's good at, and that's what everybody's hoping that they should do.
100%. Yeah, 100%. They destroyed that kid's confidence. Absolutely destroyed his confidence. They didn't set up to succeed at all. And I mean, of course, he's hesitant to throw the puck on that. He had one shot. He didn't know what to do. He's like, "Oh, I'll just dump it in because that's all they ever want me to do. Just throw it down there and go forecheck." Hey, they destroyed his creativity. I absolutely, hang this on the coaching staff, AHL, the developmental. This franchise can't develop any homegrown talent anymore.
Except for my boy Scott Lawton. I will die on that hill.
He's another guy that's been playing really well. Like it's crazy to say, but like in the midst of all this suck, like there's some guys that are playing okay, right? And Scott Lawton's been one of those guys. Like it's like I said, it's hard to be overly positive, but I still want to give credit where credit is due. Like Scott Lawton's not a guy that's meant to carry a team on his back, but he's contributing. Like he's doing the best. See, this is how it sounds just pathetic to say. Like he's doing the best that he can. You know what I mean? But
yeah, I mean
he's playing well.
It's kind of like a year ago when they went into that Lake Tahoe game. Like he was technically like one of our better players going into that game against the Bruins. Like, but I mean, right now he's definitely established himself in the NHL. He's a veteran at this point. He's part of the core at this point, right? But
I agree.
With what he's done over the past couple of weeks, he's scoring goals. Him and Konechny are really clicking, which I'd like to see. And I think they put Lindblom on that line tonight to see if they could get him going, which happened. He scored a goal with them tonight. So obviously, Lawton and Konechny have something there, the chemistry, because even when they played with Hayes, that there's definitely something there that they'd like to play. I don't know if it's the physical toughness or what, but they played really well together.
Yeah, 100%. There's a ton of chemistry between Lawton and Konechny. I feel like you can almost put anybody on that line with them, and they'll make it work. Like those two just manage to, they manage to just, absorb it, bring whoever they're in, adapt to the skill set, and make it work. So, and honestly, Lindblom probably fits in great with them with his ability to battle on the boards. You know what I mean? He actually completes that line. You could think that line could be, great for the future, which is all we can talk about these days is the future.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're not talking about here and now anymore.
We got a couple comments on the side over here from Wolf of Odin. So why isn't Konechny performing? I really thought he was a future captain on this team after Giroux leaves. So Konechny, he's performing. He's not putting the puck in the back of the net, but he's, I saw something today. He's got like 20 primary assists or something like that, which is
I saw that too.
Pretty damn good.
Yeah.
Another assist tonight. That's points in 7 straight. And we were talking before the show. I can't remember if I said it already. If I did, I apologize. He's got something like 21 points in his last 26 games now. I think three goals, 18 assists. So production's there, but his goal production is not. If you want to talk analytics for a second, his expected goals for percentage is high up there. He just needs to find the back of the net more often. And if you want to go by percentages, what that tells you is the goals are going to come, because he's working hard. He's playing well. He's just, I guess, unlucky, if you will, right now. What do you guys think?
Yeah. Go ahead, Hoagie.
Yeah, no, I mean, 2 years ago, Konechny was on a hot streak. He was scoring all the time. He started off hot and he was rolling. I was hoping last year when PSB put out the website, I put out an article like don't lose hope on this kid. Like he's got what it takes. And I mean, everybody's starting to lose hope because he's just not finding the back of the net anymore. I think part of that is he hasn't had anybody really to feed him the puck to even put the puck in the net. You know what I'm saying? Like he's got to have a consistent guy to just feed him and just let him rip it. I mean, I think him and Lawton are figuring that out where they're just gonna throw a puck on net and just hope somebody gets in there to find it to put it in.
And I think the eyeball test is kind of lined up with what Jim mentioned with the analytics. Like he's noticeable in these games lately. In the last, 6, 7, 8 games, he's absolutely been noticeable. You're seeing him play. You're hearing his name. He's driving play. He's creating chances. So that's kind of what you want to see from him. I know the goal production hurts right now. Like you wish you would seen him put more goals in the back of the net. But, I mean, here's the deal. He has a chance. If he goes on a run on the second half of the season, he could easily end up with 20, 25 goals, which, would be reasonable. 25 goals, 30, 35 assists. So that's a very reasonable expectation for Travis Konechny.
I hope he does that. I mean, he's only got 8 goals this season. That's a pretty lofty ask of him for the second half of the season here.
There's another game going on. I don't know if you guys are picking this up. Can you hear that?
Yeah, a little bit. Someone scored. It's not the Flyers, though.
Black team scored. I'm kind of, so it's weird because I'm a Konechny fan, but I'm also a Konechny critic, and if he can start putting the puck in the back of the net the way that we've seen, it's going to be hard to really criticize him, 'cause he's playing well. But like you guys said, I think if he had a Couturier, if he was playing with the Giroux and a Couturier, he very well could be a 70-plus point player this season. The way he's playing, he does need someone to feed him the puck though and set him up and put him in good spots. Because I don't think he's a guy that can create his own shot and his own offense. I don't think he's that kind of player. But yeah, it's funny because as much as I'm like, yeah, Konechny's a part of the core. Let's see what he can do. We know that he can be better. We know that he can produce. On the other hand, I'm like, well, if the right trade comes along, I'm okay with moving a guy like Konechny,
Yeah, absolutely. I'm on the same boat right there. Why not? It's the right value, and it makes sense for both teams. Take it.
I mean, this offseason is going to be, I think, really weird and unique because Chuck Fletcher's going to be hiring a second head coach. I mean, so a GM already on his second head coach, already made one hire. So he already made a bunch of moves this last offseason that didn't work out. You have to feel like Chuck Fletcher's going to be a little bit of a hot seat. You have to think that, hey, listen, like you got to bring in the right coaching staff, the right development staff, bring in the right kind of veteran additions. So you got to feel like Chuck's going to be making some win now moves, which you'd like to see. I personally don't want to see us go through a 7-year rebuild. Like I want to be competing like relatively soon. Preferably next year. So this also is interesting. So if Konechny can be packaged with somebody to bring in a true like impact elite player, like a top 10, 15 player in the league, I'm absolutely open to that.
Yeah, Chuck is definitely on the hot seat. I mean, there was a ton of moves made, and they just didn't pan out this season. And I mean, 3 years in, right? We brought him in 2019, and AV's already gone. Terrian's already gone. Yozon probably be gone. I mean, he's done what he can with this roster. I think he's not the answer for this team. So Fletcher's on him. He's got to push the right buttons and play with the right levers to really be in the good graces of management altogether and the fan base as well.
So here's a name that I keep hearing up here is Johnny Gaudreau. And, if you kind of connect the dots, and it's something I like to do, I like to see it. I like to say, okay, well, if Travis Konechny is being shopped, like, reportedly he is, like on He's popping up on all these trade lists and whatnot. And the Calgary Flames are trading for a winger with term. To me, that indicates, hey, they might be preparing themselves for a Johnny Gaudreau departure, right? And so now I'm like, okay, well, the Flyers are moving Konechny. They're looking to open up, $5+ million in cap. They got a guy like Farabee that can come up and easily replace his production in the top six. I think the Flyers could be serious contenders for Johnny Gaudreau this offseason. The question, I think, how much do you give a guy like that? I mean, you're paying Kevin. You just signed Kevin Hayes a couple of years ago for what, 7.125 or something weird like that. How much is a guy like Johnny Gaudreau worth? Currently fourth in the NHL in points. If he's the guy they're going after, what does he get?
That's a tough ask.
Well,
right? Like
you
he's
just
going
said
to get
it's
north of $7 million.
Yeah, he's fourth in the NHL in points right there. That puts him in what, Connor McDavid and Draisaitl territory? Like that's that's the baseline right there. If that's what he's doing right now, like that's the baseline.
He's going to ask for it, yeah. And what is he? He's what, 28, 29?
Yeah.
He's young. He's relatively young.
I mean, you give him a 7-year deal.
Huh?
I didn't even think he was that old. 28, 29?
Yeah. So you give him let's say you give him a 7-year deal and he's like 35, 36 by the end of it. That's not terrible. I think he's the kind of guy too that I don't think he's necessarily going to slow down, or I don't think he gets beat up or anything. He doesn't really play that kind of game. Maybe he's like a Giroux, you know what I mean, where he's 34, 35, still a point per game player. So but is he worth $10 million? Do you think a year?
I mean, if you're a desperate franchise, you got to make a move. Like, you know what I mean? Bring in a hometown kid, a big name, something like. It might not be the best move, but that might be something that puts you on the map right there and elevates the team all the way around.
That's good point.
But I'm tired of the Flyers being desperate because they've played desperate and they've played stupid with money, and it always bites us in the butt in the long run. I'd love to have them. It just has to be at the right price for us and for everybody involved.
Maybe he takes that little hometown discount, eh?
Yeah.
9.5 instead of 10.
Yeah, that's a discount right there.
I mean, you say that, but then he could just easily go take 8 down in Florida and make more money than 10 up here.
Dude, don't get me started, because I could easily complain about that, but I choose not to. Like, it's unfair. Like with Vegas and Florida, Tampa Bay, like, oh, let's just go live somewhere sunny and not get our income taxed. Who wouldn't want to do that?
Yeah. Nevada, Texas, Florida. Yeah.
For real. You got the Dallas Stars. Like, what do you want to play in Philly for? I don't know. Don't get me started on
that. I mean, on JG, Johnny Hockey, I'm convinced that if they were able to bring him in, I think Giroux would come back for a hometown discount. Just because of the talent that would be here. That part of me is also thinking Giroux's not going anywhere regardless.
Yes, yes, I'm with you, Hunter. I don't think G's going anywhere.
Yeah, it's tough. I want him to go and succeed, but I don't think he's going to go anywhere. I think he's happy. I think he's like Stamkos said. He's proud. He's proud to wear that jersey. He's proud that he's the longest tenured athlete in Philly, the longest tenured captain in Philly. Why give that up?
Yeah, but winning a cup here would have mean so much more than him. Like, winning a cup's obviously a major deal, but winning it here for him is double that. Like, he wasn't here so bad.
Right.
So I'm sure there's gonna be conversation with Chucky to trades, and he's gonna talk to to management. He's gonna talk to the ownership. He's gonna explain, but I don't think he's waiving anything. I think he's sticking around. I think everybody thinks he's getting traded and is dreaming up these fantasy trade prospects who we're gonna get back. I think they're all gonna be disappointed. It's gonna be a very boring trade deadline here in Philadelphia, and I hate to disappoint everybody.
Could you imagine? I mean, talk about Chuck being on the hot seat like that. Claude Giroux not waiving his no movement clause. Actually, you know what? I'm not even going to finish it. I don't want to. I don't know. I mean, what are you going to do? You're going to convince him to waive it? You can't convince him to waive it. But I do think you're right, though, when you say, like, I think he values his legacy here more than winning a Stanley Cup somewhere else, as weird as that sounds. Um, and I think it's a lot easier for him to stay here, whether that sounds good or bad. I believe that.
Yeah, I don't think he wants to ride somebody else's coattails. You know what I mean? Like, if he goes to Colorado, it's not that he won the cup. He didn't lead the Avalanche to the cup. He was part of the crew that McKinnon and Ratman and McCarr, they're the ones that, it was their team. They're the ones that, carried the rest of them to the cup. Or if he goes anywhere else, I mean, it wouldn't be his team. He'd be a shotgun rider. And I don't think he wants that. I think he would truly value it, like I said, twice as much to, have it be his team, his franchise, and he does it here.
Absolutely. It's just wild.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I mean, and these guys are proud guys. I mean, you don't get to the NHL, to any professional league, without having a chip on your shoulder, a little bit of arrogance. Like, you got to be kind of cocky. Yeah. You got to have a little bit of arrogance. You know what I mean? Like, to
gotta
be that
have
kind
that
of
swagger. Yep.
Exactly. Exactly where I was going. I was saying, got to have that swagger to do it. So, like, you know what I mean? You know damn well he's sitting there going, yeah, no, I can go take a back seat somewhere. I'm like, or I could keep letting it be my franchise. Like, how he's probably sitting there weighing it. Like, hey, listen, how much do I got left? How many years can I keep going? I want to keep doing it here as opposed to going somewhere else. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I'm right there with you.
I'm trying to convince Jim to come onto board that G doesn't go anywhere. Because I know he's pro G trade.
I'm so pro. I'm so pro trade.
A lot of people are. But I mean, I to be honest, I think Colorado's not involved in this. If they are, we're not going to get the return that we as fans want. It's just going to be tough. I mean, there's going to be if it does happen, it's just going to be a team out of the blue that no one is seeing.
Like the Panthers, baby. No, I don't know, but I agree with you on Colorado because they kind of shifted gears a little bit. I'm assuming that talks maybe got a little serious because you heard the Flyers were sending people over there to go scout the AHL team. They were scouting in Colorado. Colorado had people here, and then the next thing you know, Colorado's sending people out to go scout. Who's that guy from Montreal, Sherratt? Or yep. Other defensemen like that. I think they shifted their focus to defense a little bit, which, in my opinion, is smart because they need more players like that. Colorado. I think I said it in our group chat. Even if they were to trade for Giroux, don't get me wrong, trading for Claude Giroux is never a bad thing, but I don't know if it's the right move for Colorado. With that roster,
right?
It sounds funny to say, like, does a team need more skill? But in the playoffs, you kind of need a little something else. Do you know what I mean? And I don't know if Colorado has added that since last year. So I don't think Claude Giroux necessarily helps them, as weird as that sounds.
No, I think you're right because Claude Giroux on that team would slot in as a third-line winger and a power play specialist. But who's he going to bump off of that top unit between McKinnon, Ratinen, Landeskog, Kadri, and McCarr? Which one of those four you bumping off to put G up there? Otherwise, you're just trading for a third-line winger and a second power play unit guy.
Right. You're not going to put the second power, but you're not going to take time away from that top unit. You know what I mean? So
exactly.
It feels like a luxury ad.
Yeah, I mean, I said it on Pod Street Boys last week. If Claude Giroux goes to the Avalanche, he'll be like the fourth or fifth best guy on that team, which is wild. Yeah. Wild. Like he's the best player on the Flyers right now, and then he's just on to a team and like one of you said, he's on take a back seat. Like that's not Claude Giroux style whatsoever. Like it's mind blowing to me right now.
Yeah. I think we spend this trade deadline trying to pay people to take our bad contracts off our hands. We try to dump JVR somewhere, try to dump whatever we can, whoever we think's not valuable, pay them off with draft picks. The 2022 draft, I don't want to touch any of our picks in the 23 draft. I want to make that very clear. I would sell the whole 22 draft, to be honest with you. But I say we clear out whatever we can as best as we can. And then gear up for next season in 2023.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean it's time, I guess. This season's definitely lost. It's an understatement. They may not win 5 more games. We were looking at the schedule like that's real. They might not win 5 more times.
How many times in the history of NHL has a team had 3 separate 10-game losing streaks?
I don't know. I don't think ever.
I don't know if that's ever happened. And we legit could see that. We could legitimately see that by March 1st. Like March 1st, we could see that. Like, I mean, there's a possibility we could see our third 10-game losing streak by March 1st.
That's just sad.
At this point, I want it. Like, I want to see it. Like, let's see history. Like, if you're going to be bad, like, be historically bad.
Be epically bad.
Right. Be the best at something.
That was like a couple years ago when we went through 8 goaltenders that season. Like, might as well at that point.
Like, it's got to be hard to lose 10 games in a row once, right? And they could potentially do it 3 times.
Right.
Like, think about that. Like, losing 10 games in a row, you almost win a game by accident. And they're going to lose 10 games 3 times. 10 games in a row 3 times. That's nuts to me. That's a little big. I mean, that right there, I mean, think about the expectations that we had in the summer. And this is why I can't be negative like some people are. When think about how excited we were, for Ryan Ellis, Couturier paired with Atkinson, Giroux, Kevin Hayes with his buddies and all that good stuff. Those guys are all gone. Yeah. Like, the team's been gutted, all season long. So it's kind of like, dude, we're watching Jerry Mayhew score like 2 goals a night. Like, how mad can I really be? Like,
right.
I'm looking for positives here. So, what are you going to do?
I mean, and that has been positive. You're seeing these younger guys or these no-namers just slide into the lineup and make differences, like the Mayhews, the Willmans. Like,
yeah,
last year we didn't know who these guys were.
Hey, maybe guys like that teach a player like Morgan Frost a thing or two, right? Like,
right.
I'm not that I want to rag on Morgan Frost at all, but from some of the things that we've heard, playing with guys that work their asses off and aren't taking the opportunity for granted, maybe that does something for a player like Morgan Frost throughout the last 30 or so games here. I don't know. I'm kind of grasping at straws there, but who knows?
Seriously.
Well, I mean, all we have is hope. That's all we have is hope, which is why I think like the rebuild crew, the rebuild crowd is that's what they're all about. Because when you're going into a rebuild, all you have is hope. You know what I mean? There's no expectations. We're rebuilding. We're tearing it down. We're gonna get a bunch of draft picks, and that's how our team's gonna get built. My personal counter argument to that is that the Edmonton Oilers, 5 straight number 1 overall draft picks. They've won 2 playoff series in 12 years.
No, it didn't work for them.
That's not what I want to set in here. I don't want that kind of losing culture to set in here. Like, we should be playing to win every season is how I feel.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
Everybody loves the draft and having draft picks until Cole Caulfield's sitting right there and you trade back 2 spots and you take Cam York, right? And then it's like, oh my God, why'd they do that with that pick? Blah, 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 blah. All right, and then everyone, what's the point of having draft picks if you don't draft the right players? I don't know. I get the whole – don't get me wrong, because I know I sound like a caveman when I talk like that. But it's like, use the picks to go get players that are good. I'm tired of the lottery tickets. We did that for too long. If we didn't go through Hextall and see what happened there, then I would be a little bit more open-minded. But I know I'm being stubborn. I know I'm being closed-minded. I don't want to stock up on picks, and I don't want any more lottery tickets. Go out and get talent.
Yeah.
Absolutely. The people that want to go through the rebuild, we just went through the rebuild. The rebuild was supposed to be over. We were supposed to be at the end of the tunnel. We're not supposed to be doing it again. This is supposed to be the end of the line right here.
Yep.
It shouldn't have gone that quickly, too. Like 3 years, it shouldn't have turned around. So it's brutal.
And it goes to show that, hey, you can try to do this, but you have to do it right, and sometimes you don't. And I don't want to take that chance. I want to go out and get guaranteed talent. I don't understand why you can be against that.
No, I think draft picks are the most overrated thing in all of professional sports. All of professional sports, draft picks are overrated. Look at what the Los Angeles Rams did. They haven't had a first-round draft pick in 4 seasons, and they still don't have another one this season, and they won a Super Bowl. Because they used those draft picks and went and got proven talent. They brought proven talent in. Like, yep, these are the guys we want. We're going to bring in veteran players. They're going to come play for us, and that's what we're going to do. We already know they can do the job. We're going to put them in the best position to succeed. Matt Stafford, Von Miller, Jalen Ramsey, Odell Beckham. They went ahead, brought guys in, Andre Whitworth. Like, they brought guys in to come in there, play the game for them. Go do that. Why can't the Flyers go do that? I don't give a shit about draft picks. I want guys that can play right now.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. Sorry. Smashed one off the post over there. I agree, man. Like, the opportunities will be there. Just a matter of pulling the trigger and bringing in the right players, I guess,
Yeah. The draft is not it. I mean, Chuck said it himself that top end talent comes in the draft, right? I don't think that's how we're going to become competitive right away.
So, like, my whole thing is, you can be competitive and still draft good players. Like, there's nothing that says, if you're good, you're going to draft crappy players. Like, you can still find good players, after pick 20 or whatever. Colorado's finding a way to do it. That's why we won all their prospects, I don't know. So, I don't know. There's more than one ways to build a team. And the rebuild thing, like, let's say they were to do it, it would be the fun part would be trying to watch the kids grow, and that's your reason for watching the games. Oh, so and so's called up, but say so and so's Morgan Frost. Are you excited to watch? What's happening with Morgan Frost? Again, I'm not.
No. Plus, I have no faith in this team to develop any prospects. I don't care who we draft, unless they're a natural talent that can overcome our terrible development staff, our terrible minor league coaching staff. Unless they can overcome that, I have no interest in watching them because we're gonna stunt their growth.
Absolutely. I mean, I would have been excited for Morgan Frost to come up 3 years ago. That was when Farabee made the team, right? 3 years ago or something like that.
Yep.
It was between the two of them.
Yeah, Farabee came up, Frost stayed down.
Yeah, if Frost and if both of them came in to line up, I would have been excited. That's the learning curve right there. But they've just played this yo-yo with Frost that just hasn't been fair to him, and like that's why Farabee has just gone leaps and bounds past Frost in the lineup. He's scoring goals. He's in the top 6. He's a proven winger now. Like that. The time for Frost might be over for us. Like, I don't get excited when he gets called up anymore. I don't know about you guys.
No, he'll probably get packaged as a secondary part of a trade deadline salary dump deal, and then go become a 25, 30 goal scorer for some other team over the next 6 years. But look, if we end up with the number 1 overall pick and we take Shane Wright, like, do we have any confidence this team is going to actually develop him and let him become what he's supposed to be?
Probably not.
Yeah.
I mean, the development is a touchy subject because we've just seen so many players over the years not be what we want them to be.
I mean, you've had 2 top 3 picks in the last what, 7, 8 years? No, what do we had here? 07 and 16, so 15 years, right? What did JVR and Nolan Patrick become? Like, they became nothing.
Well, I mean, JVR was something. I mean,
for the Maple Leafs.
Exactly, for the Maple Leafs.
He did nothing for us.
And that's not our fault. That's the management's fault. They're like,
that's organization's fault right there. They didn't bring out the best of him. They sent him away. They went ahead, had his prime years. We signed him back as a $7 million anchor.
I was going to say, if it wasn't for JVR, we would have never had the pleasure of watching Luke Shen for however many years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, thank God we got the number 2 overall pick twice. Franchise-altering picks. Franchise-altering lottery tickets. That's the thing, though. You got to hit.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you're not going to hit when the number 1 and number 2 are consensus picks.
And see, like, what does that show you? It shows me that nobody really knows. And these guys doing the TV stuff, there's a reason they're on TV and not working for an NHL team. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
That's all. So it's, nobody really knows anything when it comes to prospects, in my opinion. It's all, projecting and whatnot. I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, you get a Connor McDavid, you could say, okay, this guy's going to be a star, or Bedard. I guess everyone's drooling over Bedard, right? I don't know. How old is this kid? 16, 17?
Bedard's 16. Yeah.
Everyone's saying, oh, he's tearing up these leagues. I don't know. Who's to say? I don't know. See, it's mostly fun.
Translate.
Right. It's mostly fun to think about. Oh man, whoever gets Bedard, that's going to be a great pick. I don't know. Niall Yakupov, remember him?
Yep.
I don't know.
One of the 5 Edmonton Oilers picks, number 1 overall in a row.
He was a bust and a half.
Yeah. So I don't know. As fun as it is to talk about prospects and all that, and because like you said, Dave, like it's hope. Like prospects are hope, or draft picks are hope, like lottery tickets and whatnot. And what happens when they don't pan out? Now you just wasted however long waiting for so and so to develop, and it's like, well, here we go again. Time to rebuild again, right?
Like I said, we just did it. We just did this was supposed to be the rebuild. Like we were already supposed to have done it. So everybody loves hope. Everybody loves hope. If we just do this and we draft all these guys, they're going to develop. We'll have an all-star team all on our roster. But you can't say that. You don't know.
Right.
I agree. Yeah. So I'm in the mindset where you can be a competitive hockey team, get into the playoffs, and see what you can do, and still draft well. I don't know why that's such a crazy thing. Teams do it. They invest heavily in scouting and player development. I don't know why the Flyers haven't been doing that the last however many years. If it was news to me when I heard that they needed to, when they talked about writing blank checks, that's what they meant. And I'm like, wait, why isn't that a priority? Why isn't player development and player scouting and whatnot? Why isn't that top priority? Even if you're a top team in the league, right? It's just kind of mind-boggling to me when I heard that.
So I'm picturing Jack in front of his computer right now, like jumping on top of the desk, like screaming at the monitor as he's typing this stuff right now.
Go ahead. You want to read this comment for the listeners?
I hear a lot about Edmonton and Buffalo, but nothing on LA, Chicago, Pittsburgh. Shaking my head. Some capital letters in there for people that aren't watching the live stream.
Right.
Jack is Captain Rebuild, as we know. Sure. I just think, I mean, even LA, Chicago, like LA, they won the Cups, but they also missed the playoffs. They went from winning Cups to missing the playoffs 2 times a year, go back, win a Cup, then miss the playoffs again. It's not like they were some kind of like crazy dominant dynasty like the Red Wings were in the 90s, 2000s. Like, they did pretty good. And then LA also made quality veteran additions. They brought in Mike Richards. They brought in Jeff Carter. Like they brought in guys to come there, help get them over the top.
There you go. He just said it. Keywords, they won the Cups. Like, I don't know.
But would they have won the Cup without Richards and Carter? Like, you can't just build through the draft.
I completely agree. And that's a different conversation because you have to have a culture for guys to want to come to. You know what I'm saying? Like, does anybody really want to come to Philly right now? Like, it's this teeming pile of crap. Like,
Yeah.
you don't know what you're getting right now. Like,
Yeah.
Risto wants out. He's tired of losing, man. I don't blame him.
I don't think you can build a culture just through draft picks. You need to bring a culture with veteran players that know how to win. I want guys that have been there and done it before. You know what I mean?
Right.
Guys are going to hold people accountable. Some of this team's best seasons with this very similar core was when they brought guys in like Pronger, Jaromir Jagr. You know what I mean? Niskanen. You bring guys in that have done it before, that know how to hold people accountable, that know what it takes to get it done, they know what to say in the locker room, they know how to go about their business on a day-to-day basis. Those are the kind of guys I want. I want those guys in this locker room, and then we can draft.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you're pretty much going back to your Chemo Tiemanns and your Scott Hartnells back when those acquisitions were made. Like, those guys are around this locker room for how many years, and look what they did. I mean, they made that cup run in 2010. We haven't seen any success since then. I mean, 2012 maybe, but we got bounced in the second round. Like,
Second round, yeah.
You need guys to come in and just create that winning culture for us. I mean, Jack said in the comments, so you drafted Carter Richards, but I mean, we don't have a Carter Richards on this team, to be honest with you. Like, I mean, everybody's high on Couturier and Giroux, but I mean, Giroux might be on his way out. Couturier hopefully he's okay and can play further than his injury. So you don't know what's going on behind the scenes right now.
So I think it's should be noted that some of the players on these teams were drafted, with later picks, excluding Taves and Kane. So they were drafted top 3, I think. The Penguins, got Malkin, Letang, Crosby, Fleury. If you sucked, if you finished last, you were going to get the number 1 overall pick. And the Penguins did that for a long time, right? That doesn't happen anymore. If you finish last, all of a sudden you got to go through this lottery. You're not guaranteed a number 1 overall pick. You know what I mean? So, we're talking about the Kings. Kopitar, I think, was drafted after pick 10. Dustin Brown drafted after pick 10. I forget where Jonathan Quick was drafted, but he was a big part of those cup teams, so you have to have the goalie. Drew Doughty, I think, was a top pick, though, right? Oh, Jonathan Quick was drafted in round 3. It's crazy. So, you can get good players past pick 3 in a draft. Like, it's crazy, you don't have to be absolute dog shit to draft talent.
Well, Datsuk and Zetterberg, who are key cogs of that Detroit dynasty for years, were drafted in the 6th and 7th round.
Yeah. I mean, hey, even look at Richards and Carter. Like, Richards was what?
24, I think.
24, and I don't remember exactly where.
I think they were both. I think Carter was 15 or something like that, maybe 11. Carter was like mid first round, and then Richards was, later first round. But they were both first round picks. Oh, we lost Jim.
I think we're losing Jim.
We lost it. Well, we're pushed up against the 50-minute mark anyway, Hoagie, so we can get ready to wrap it up. Plus, I don't want to give Jack a heart attack anyway over here. I feel like he's having a heart attack.
He's getting into it over here on the comments. I feel bad for him right now.
Yeah, I want to make sure Jack's okay. All right, no. So like I said, we're pushing up on the 50-minute mark, Hoagie. Floor's yours, dude. Whatever you want to say, whatever you want to put out, it's all you.
Yeah, I mean, Pod Street Bullies just dropped a new episode last night. I unfortunately wasn't on it, but go give it a listen. Go give us all a follow. You got Pod Street Casey, Pod Street Gove, Pod Street Bob, myself, Pod Street Host, and follow all of us at Pod ST Bullies on Twitter. So
awesome. And I want to throw one last comment up here because I like when somebody says that I'm right. Antamayo over here. What the good news is, if we keep on losing, we may get Shane right. However, Dave is right that the problem is no one in this organization knows how to develop the young talent. That needs to be fixed first. So before we burn it down and get a bunch of draft picks for Jackie Boy, we need to learn how to develop the young talent.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. So for Jim Icavone, who already dropped off, For Hoagie, the Pod Street Bullies, I'm Delco Dave. Hi, Wide Fam. Thanks for hanging out, everybody. Have a good night.